Hello everyone and welcome back to this brand new video. Now I have two things I'm very happy about today. First of all, finally Fires and Agent are banned. I'm so happy about all of this. I can't wait because I was sick of standard with Renota and Agent and then Luca and all of this, and I'm very happy I don't have to suffer about that anymore. And two, the new Teferi that was released today. So for those of you who don't know the card, I'm gonna show it right now in the video, but I mean the new Teferi is just insane, and I have so many builds around him. If you want to discuss future Core Set 2021 spoilers, if you want to talk maybe about future Teferi brews, make sure to join my Discord server. Link will be in the description down below along with the deck guide, so that way maybe we can discuss future brews. But with that out of the way, let's discuss the deck. I think this deck is going to be very good in the future meta, especially because this kind of shell is not really impacted by the new companion rule. So for those of you who don't know, the new companion rule kind of now forces you to pay 3 mana in your main phase, so you can put your companion into your hand and then you can cast it after that, meaning that you have to basically every companion, if you want to play it in the same turn, is going to cost you a 3 mana extra. So for example, if I want to play Keruga in one turn, it's going to cost me 8 mana. Now why is Keruga good in this deck? Why is it not impacted? Because this deck is revolved around Wilderness Reclamation. It's a flash reclamation deck. And why is that good? Because you're going to untap your lands at the end step anyways with Reclamation. So might as well just pay 3 mana, get Keruga into your hand, go into unstep, untap. That way you're not really bothered by the new companion rule. I mean, sure, you just waited a turn to cast Keruga, but Keruga is such a good card, and such value out of Keruga is insane. Trust me, so you don't worry too much about waiting a full turn. And it's not like you tapped out. Reclamation just gave you untapped your mana, so you can maybe for Mystic their spell, Ambusher, and step, you can do so many things. So what do we do? Because Keruga doesn't allow us to play spells with 3 mana or less, we run the adventure package, meaning Brazen Borrower, so we can use the Petty Theft part, and Bonecrusher Giant, so we can use the Stomp part. Now Mystical Dispute is here because in the long run I think Mystical Dispute will be a very good spell. Now currently I'm expecting Mono Red to be a very big thing, so if you're expecting to lose or to play against a lot of Mono Red, maybe you can put the disputes in the sideboard and then maybe substitute them with 3 Flame Sweep and 1 Stormwrath. I think that's better in the short run, but in the long run I'm pretty sure that dispute is gonna get better. Now why is that? Control decks usually struggle at the start of the new meta because they don't know what to play around quite yet, but then as the meta progresses, control becomes better and better, so Mystical Dispute is very good, especially because it handles our biggest problem, which is turn 3 Teferi, the spell that everybody loves. So what is this deck trying to do? It's trying to survive and then hit off a Wilderness Reclamation. Now Uro helps us ramp into our Reclamation and also survive because it does gain us 3 life, and that's very good in my opinion. 3 life can be the difference between untapping and not untapping against an aggro matchup. Then when you set up your Reclamation, you have a bunch of value spells like Nightback Ambusher, Field Mystic. You can even cycle Shark Typhoon, and then always, I mean, you're running Reclamation, so might as well just play Expansion Explosion. The mana base is shown here. I mean, we are playing 27 lands because we want to make sure to have 4 lands on turn 4 for Reclamation, but don't worry about it. You never flood with this deck. Trust me, Fabled Passage, we're playing a full playset because it synergizes so well with Uro. Now, the main thing that I wanted to tell you about my sideboard is that I'm just tailored it to what I expect the meta will be. Changes might happen, so make sure to join my Discord server so we can discuss future sideboard options, but currently I think this is very good. So 3 Flame Sweep because I'm expecting Mono Red to be a very big thing and we kind of need to handle Mono Red. Lovestruck Beast is also good against Mono Red, or maybe against Cycling because you get to create that 1/1 human that can chump block the Fox for like a turn or two. Maybe you play the human and then you play the Lovestruck Beast, so that way you can kind of stall a bit. God of Destiny Clothis, I mean God of Destiny is very good against Cycling deck, against John Sacrifice, because not only does it handle their graveyard very well, it also helps you gain life. Although I expect Cycling decks to remain, and they're still gonna run Lurrus just because Lurrus is just a free spell for their decks. I mean, they're not really paying any deck restriction cost, it's just a free extra card in that deck, so expect Lurrus Cycling to remain a thing. Uro is just here against also aggressive matchups where we need to gain more life, because gaining more life against aggressive matchups isn't a problem. Stormwrath is just 2 additional board wipes that we might use, and Shifting Ceratops is also here because we want to have something against future control decks. Now if control becomes a very good part of this meta when you're watching this, maybe you can consider playing Commence the Endgame. It's a very good spell, especially that it can be countered, so if you flash this in end step, trust me, you're gonna run away with the game, because not only do you draw 2 cards, you also get a threat in hand. You also get a threat on the field, so that's gonna be very good. But besides that, I think this deck is very good currently, especially that once again you can just safely play reclamation next turn, pay 3 mana, get Keruga into your hand, untap your lands, have something to do, and have interaction up, and then next turn you can just play Keruga, draw so many cards, and run away with the game. So just to show you how this deck kind of works, we're gonna go into our games, but before we do that, if you enjoyed this deck so far, and if you want to see more post-ban standard content, please do consider subscribing, it helps the channel a lot. And with that, I'll see you in the games. So we are going into our first standard ranked game, and I'm very suspecting that I'm gonna face some like kind of weird mono red deck. Like I'm highly expecting this. Now my claim is a bit controversial, but like it's not impossible that Obosh remains a thing. Now this might seem like very weird, but I'll explain my reasoning later on. This is not a very bad hand, especially seeing how we run 27 lands, so we're like very likely to draw into more lands. Worst case, we can just cycle Shark Typhoon next turn if you don't draw into another land. You can cycle Shark Typhoon for 2, just draw into another land, and then maybe that will fix all of our mana problems. So don't worry too much about keeping low land hands. Like don't keep a 1-lander obviously, but like having Shark Typhoon and then a bunch of interaction makes me feel very good about this hand. See, opponent is also a man of culture. Opponent also knows that this deck is going to be a thing. So I think in this matchup you kind of want to like start applying pressure as much as possible, like very early on. So Borrower next turn is not a very bad idea. Do we think I'm gonna stomp his face just to like kind of start the damage train going, and then I kind of try to start interacting that way. We hit our 4th land, meaning that I'm not gonna cycle my Shark Typhoon into anything. We pass just to like show him that we kind of have interaction. If he taps out for Uro, I'm gonna feel very good about this turn, because if he does tap out for Uro, that means we are in the clear to do anything we want. I'm gonna flash in my Brazen Borrower to kind of prompt an answer. Does that prompt an answer, opponent? Alright, it doesn't apparently. So normally you would try to like tap out and then play something, but the fact that opponent might have a Borrower to just bounce our reclamation end step kind of encourages me not to do anything and then just pass. I mean, maybe I could have kept Stomp to kind of stomp another Brazen Borrower or like a Shark Typhoon token, but I don't think that's a problem. So opponent is playing the Temur reclamation version, so like he's only trying to play his reclamation and then expansion explosion us for a very high number. So I think the fact that we have some early on interaction and then some early on damage is very good for us, because that is kind of going to push him into a very annoying position. Like currently he's at 15, I'm at 20. And life total is not a very good indicator of who's ahead in this game, but just the early pressure is a very good way for us to pressure our opponent. The only annoying thing here would be him having another dispute, but I mean, what can I do? If he has a dispute, he just has it. He does not have a dispute and he tapped out. So like, if we weren't in a good position right now, now we're in a very good position. Now I'm gonna go for a green source in case we top deck Frill Mystic, because that way we can just... alright, we didn't top deck Frill Mystic, but I mean, we could have, if we top decked him, we could have just played him next turn while our opponent is tapped out or something, or while our opponent taps out for something else. So next turn we can maybe go for Keruga, because we get to do everything we want, and I'm going to cycle Shark Typhoon to try to go for more interaction. Hopefully opponent doesn't have another reclamation in his hand, but if he does, I mean, his hand is getting pretty small. Like, I mean, if he has another reclamation, that means, does he have another expansion explosion? I really doubt it. So we're going to crack our passage, and we're going to go for another red source in case we draw into expansion explosion. We do want another red source, so like we're gonna go for that, and then we're gonna cycle our Shark Typhoon for 3, and then that way we can maybe start applying even more pressure. I'm suspecting opponent has a Shark Typhoon in his hand, he wants to cycle it for 4. In case he does, I don't think that's a very huge problem, because he kind of taps out and then we get the expansion explosion for like a very huge number. And I think expansion explosion isn't lethal, that's the thing. It's 10 mana, we can get to do it for 6. It's not lethal, but I mean, it's very near lethal. Alright, so as I expected, opponent wants the Shark Typhoon for 4. That's not the biggest issue, honestly. That's not a really big problem. Like, I'm being very honest with you, I'm not trying to act cool, this is not an issue at all. Opponent is down to 9. Thing is, how high do I want to go with my expansion explosion? I think just expansion explosion for like, let's see, so blue, I think just keeping 4 mana in case we do draw into our actually keeping 3 mana, and then maybe if we draw into a Brazen Borrower, that's, I think expansion explosion for 3 is enough. And then if I'm going for 3, do I even want to go face? That's a very good question as well. What could opponent have that punishes us? Reclamation and Dispute, but like I'm expecting a bunch of Athens Scatter honestly in his hand at this stage. So I think we're just going to go for like 1 mana more, although this does seem very controversial. But I think I want to just go for like even more value. I don't want to go for the full value just because I want to kind of keep some sort of interaction, even though it just might be dispute or like a brazen borrower. Alright, so we top like a brazen borrower, and that's good for us because that way if he taps out for reclamation, we can just bounce it, so that's good. So opponent plays a cycle land, a scry land. If opponent doesn't do anything, I might just bounce this with the borrower. Even if he does dispute that, I'm not that worried about that. I'm going to let this resolve. I don't think he has a dispute just because he didn't have it before. If he attacks with this, I'm gonna... Alright, why did it... I should have set a stop. And I'm very sorry about that. Alright, we did not get punished apparently. So we're going to not do anything quite yet. Do I just borrow or bounce? I think I'm going to borrow or bounce just to prompt an interaction. Seeing how he did not like expansion explosion for something, I think he does not have it yet in his hand, and this maybe just be another this might be another this might be another Shark Typhoon, so he might just cycle another one. I'm not that bothered by that because we can now Bonecrusher Giant, untap, play or not untap, you can shock a land and get Keruga back, Bonecrusher Giant, and then that way we're set for next turn, and we have a double dispute. Double dispute is a very, very good spot to be in. So trust me, we are ahead in this matchup. So let us do this. Alright, opponent is thinking, meaning that I'm probably expecting either a removal spell, maybe a Scorching Dragonfire. Do keep note of Scorching Dragonfire. It's going to be a very good spell in the next meta. Because like it's just so good. For example, against Uro you can just... So it was a Shark Typhoon in the end. What I was wanting to say is against Uro, for example, Shark Typhoon is just Uro sacrifice trigger on the stack. You can just Scorching Dragonfire it, exiles itself, and then that's just super good because you kind of deal for an Uro. You deal with Uro for like 3 mana, and that's super good. Currently we're gonna play our Bonecrusher Giant, and then we're gonna put Keruga into our hand for like 3 mana. And this is what I was telling you about this deck. We get to untap, meaning that Keruga coming into our hand didn't really cost us a lot. So opponent, double dispute should be enough. Usually people play around 1 dispute, people never play around double dispute, so that's good. Opponent is thinking what he might have. Alright, so opponent probably is going with dispute, or he just... What can you have, opponent? Alright, so opponent just taps out for no reason. If I did have Brazen Borrower in hand, opponent would have been punished a lot, so like I don't know why you did that, but not here to judge you, opponent. Actually, yes, I am here to judge you. I'm here to capitalize on every mistake you make, opponent. So opponent, what could you have in hand? What could you have in hand that I'm really bothered by? Scorching Dragonfire could be something, but that's his intervention. I think we're going to let that resolve because... Actually, I think I just want to dispute to make sure he taps out so I can resolve my Keruga. Maybe he doesn't even tap out just to make sure that I don't resolve my Keruga. Alright, so since he tapped out, I think we go with the other dispute. Yeah, I think we just go with the other dispute. Let's just try to end this game because if we drop Keruga, we get our like another Brazen Borrower. That should be enough to end the game, and we didn't draw into a bunch of them quite yet. So currently I'm going to play a land to play around... we can't play around dispute anyway, so like, let's just go for it. Let's just go for the win. I don't think opponent is in a stage where he can win anyway, so like I'm not that worried about tapping out for a Keruga. Alright, so we're gonna draw 3 cards and that may be enough to win the game. Alright, that is definitely enough to win the game. And now I don't think he has the dispute, but just to play around it, I'm gonna float my mana post and step. And we have an expansion explosion to copy any potential counter spell he might have, so I think we're in a very good spot. So now unstep, we're going to float our mana, and now we're just going to untap, and we're just going to stomp. See, we have a very good matchup against this version of Wilderness, so like, just the fact that we have early on interaction and then Mystical Dispute mainboard really punishes them. So like, let's go into our sideboard, and I have to admit that sideboarding isn't my strongest suit, but I'm gonna try as much as possible. Uro seems very good in this matchup, especially because it gets the ramp us, and whoever ramps faster is gonna win this game in the long run. Bonecrusher isn't the best. Sure, it can kill a Brazen Borrower, but I don't think it's that good. Shifting Ceratops might be just the win from out of nowhere, and I think it's decent enough to do that. But what else do I have in mind? I don't think any of these are that good. Sure, there's these with Uro, but it's not something I want. These are not really worth it, so I think that's where we're going with. Do I want to keep one Bonecrusher Giant? Sure, there's no better thing to do. I think that's enough to sideboard. I think that we're not in a bad stage. Commands the end game in this mirror would have been very good, especially that we're both gonna slow down when it comes to like what we're doing. The only thing I'm afraid of is him just having access to Growth Spiral, which is going to run out of the game. He's probably switching into kind of a flash strategy like we are, so that's something to keep notice of. I think this hand is very good. We just don't need another Reclamation. I mean, one is enough, and Dispute in our opening hand is just super good to see. So I'm going to try to keep this as long as possible because we do need to like set up our mana for Field Mystic in the future. I might just run it out next turn to make sure I have a turn 3 Dispute in case opponent plays anything, so I'm able to counter it. Alright, so something you should keep note of is you might want to play your Growth Spiral at sorcery speed just to make sure it resolves. Meaning that last turn I was tapped out, meaning that I did not have access to Mystical Dispute. So if I had Growth Spiral in hand, I would have definitely played it at sorcery speed to make sure it resolves. So that's something you should take note of. Alright, it's an instant, but I mean you don't always have to play it as an instant. So we're going to flash in our Steam Bands and then just pass. And maybe next turn we go for our Fabled Passage for Mystic, counter anything he plays. Having access to like, I'm not gonna shock in just to like not make it obvious that I have Field Mystic. Opponent having Reclamation and Mystical Dispute could be very annoying, I'm not gonna lie to you. But besides that, I think we're not in a huge chunk of trouble. I might just even let the Reclamation resolve. Alright, no Reclamation just yet. And now we have access to Field Mystic and Reclamation in the future, and that feels super good. So we're going to go search for a green source or a blue source. I don't think it really matters. I think we have double green, so let's just search for blue. Just because blue is a very cool color. I don't want to cycle. Actually, let's cycle. If he taps out to play his Bonecrusher Giant, I don't really think I mean his Nightpack Ambusher, I don't really think that I mind. Another Field Mystic is always good to see, and another Dispute is also good to see. So depending on how long this game takes, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you another game or not. I mean, I'm not trying to make my videos way too long, because like I know I'm very entertaining, but I don't think you want to see that much of me. We're going to go with Nightpack Ambusher, kind of force him to counter us or like do something, and then alright, so he uses his Dispute. I'm going to dispute his Dispute just to kind of prompt another answer, and then we just run out our Reclamation if opponent goes crazy. So opponent, do you have a negate? I really hope he uses his negate. Please, opponent, use your negate. Opponent, you know you want to use your negate. Alright, so opponent disputes our Dispute, meaning that our Reclamation is just safe to resolve. And that should be enough for us to run away with the game in the future. So let's just play our land, play our Reclamation, and then just untap. Opponent, you can go. I mean, this is not a bad spot to be in. See, Nightpack Ambusher having Flash is so good in this matchup, and it's always something you should keep note of. Like, can I safely tap out and counter this Nightpack Ambusher? I mean, opponent's hand might be a reason why he was forced to do that, but besides that, I can't speak on his side. So like, we're going to pay 3 mana, get Keruga into our hand, and once again, we're just going to untap. See how easy it is for this deck to get Keruga into their hand? They don't really mind losing that mana, because like, don't use it anyways. Nightpack Ambusher is something we're going to try to run out again, if he disputes. Alright, Ambusher resolves. That makes me very worried. Is he going to get killed, or like, is he going to get bounced? Opponent, what's the plan? Alright, so opponent has no plan apparently. We're just going to attack with our Ambusher. Opponent, what do you want to do? So one thing I want to mention for you in the future, I did not play around that, yes I know. But actually I have nothing to defend myself for. I did not play around this, and that's a very big misplay, so don't do that. See what I just did? Don't do that. I was just too happy that I resolved my spell and I did not consider what could happen, and that's something you should never do as a player. So always keep note of what your opponent might have and what he might not have. I did play a land just because I want to have access to Field Mystic, and at this stage we can Field Mystic and Mystical Dispute hardcast, so like that's why I played the land. Usually at some stage of the game, even if you do have lands you just don't want to play them, but in this stage I did want to do that just because I kind of want to ramp into maybe a huge expansion explosion, or just have access to Field Mystic and Mystical Dispute, hardcast Mystical Dispute. That's something very good. So opponent is considering whether or not he wants to attack us. I'm gonna let the first one resolve because it doesn't do anything, and then we maybe Field Mystic the other one, or just dispute the other one. We're gonna counter this one, and then if opponent wants to go for Mystical Dispute, we just dispute his Dispute. Alright, so this one definitely resolves. I'm going to counter your spell, opponent, and he just wasted a spell from his hand for like nothing, for literally nothing. So like that's a very good that's a very good turn for us. I'm going to attack with Keruga. If opponent wants to take that trade, I mean, feel free, opponent, I don't really mind. If he doesn't, and he just takes 5, I mean, we're a bit ahead them now mana-wise. Not mana-wise, I mean damage-wise. And we sadly still do not draw a huge payoff, like for example, Expansion Explosion. I'm going to Field Mystic this as well. I mean, yes, we kind of are walking into and using all of our counter spells, but I think we just need to do this. I'm going to... Do I want to Mystical Dispute this? Yes, I think I'm going to Mystical Dispute this. At this stage, opponent is getting very desperate, which is telling me that he doesn't have a lot in his hand and he can't just afford the tempo swing of Frid Mystic, so that's why I'm going for these risky lines of play. But I really think that he just does not have a lot in his hand. That's like my huge feeling behind all of this. And if this continues, Expansion Explosion is getting very, very close to lethal. Opponent is attacking us. Alright, well, it was like, this feels weird. And we top deck another Frid Mystic. So I know that you usually don't top deck all of these Frid Mystics, but I mean, we didn't draw an Uro, we didn't draw a Brazen Borrower, we didn't draw anything, so like, I don't feel that bad out top decking that much. And opponent doesn't have a bunch of cards in his hand, so like, it feels good. I'm gonna try to show you maybe an aggro matchup because that can make you learn more. Opponent, what do you have in hand? Like, another Storm's Wrath is fine with us, another Reclamation is really fine with us, he just simply does not have a payoff. Maybe he has another Shark Typhoon, but if he does, I mean, I probably think he would have played it earlier on. Is he? I think he has Spot Removal because he's like highlighting one of our cards. I think it's just Spot Removal at this stage. I mean, opponent, Expansion Explosion for 5. Alright, so we're just going to dispute that. And I think that's going to be pretty much us winning the game if we top deck Expansion. Alright, so that's going to be pretty much it for game 1. I'm going to try to go into game 2 if it's quick. If I feel like it's not, I think I'm just going to skip it just not to make this video too long. So I'll see you in game 2. So going into our second game of Temur Keruga. Now I did play another game in ranked before I shot this video, so my rank did drop. And let me tell you how this game went. I lost because I kept a very questionable hand game 1 because I didn't know that I was going first. I thought I was going second, and that's why I kept a 2-lander. Never keep usually a 2-lander when you're going first. So this hand is good enough. I mean, if we're playing against mono red, it's not that bad because we have some interaction, some form of life gain. So it's not that bad. I think we're just going to keep it. We're not sure what our opponent is playing quite yet. If our opponent is playing Junk Food, I don't think we mind the matchup that much, honestly. So like, what I'm expecting to become meta in the long run is Junk Food, Temur Reclamation, not this version, the Expansion Explosion version with like Growth Spiral, and then these cards I'm gonna have a video on that maybe tomorrow or today, depending on like how early my schedule is, how ahead on schedule I am, I mean. So I mean, Breeding Pool tapped is not a bad option. I don't think this is gonna be someone that's playing blue. Hero of Fleecing 1, is he playing Naya tokens? Alright, that's a very good top deck, I'm not going to lie. I would have enjoyed top decking a land deck, but I mean, just dealing with the hero before it grows out of hand is very good for us. This is obviously an aggro matchup because like hero is not played. Hero was played in Esper midrange, which was something I enjoyed playing a lot. Like, it was one of my favorite matchups. Is this Mardu human? Is this Mardu humans? It probably is, and I'm very excited to see this. Or is this Mardu Hero Precinct 1? Did we really not draw a land yet? And this is what I hate sometimes about Magic. Please give me a land. Alright, thank you. Like that, really, thank you. At least I drew a land. This might be a matchup that we're going to lose just because the opponent is going to go so wide and we don't have a way to board wide in the main board. So, might be a problem, but don't worry about it, we should be fine. Do we draw Bonecrusher Giant? I think we just do. I think we're just going to draw Bonecrusher Giant and then play the stop and then untap and then try to survive. I highly doubt we will. But you know, there's like a first time for everything. There's sometimes you just win games out of nowhere. Opponent might flood too much. Like I was once playing a game in my LGS and I was so behind it wasn't even funny. And then opponent just flooded way too hard and then I just won that way. So like, not telling you to wish that your opponent floods, although I might have done that like deep down inside, but don't like surrender directly. You might just win games out of nowhere. I think going for Uro and then Uro into Brazen into Petty Theft from Brazen Borrower is good enough in my opinion. Maybe if we get into a Reclamation in some time, we might just come back to this game out of nowhere. Besides that, I don't think there's a bunch of ways for us to do that. If we hit our opponent for a huge Expansion Explosion, we can just win the game. Besides that, Cruel Celebrant kind of stops this plan. We can't board wipe anymore, even if we did have it in the main board. Opponent, do you have a Scorching? What do you have like in hand that's making you pause my Uro trigger? I don't think there's anything in the white mana that does anything to Uro, or like that exiles it. So let's see. Opponent, what do you want to do? That's the question. Opponent doesn't want to do anything. I might just want to lose one life and draw a card to like pick us deeper into that Reclamation. Alright, Frid Mystic isn't that bad. Like, it's not the best, but it's not that bad. Let's see. So next turn we might be able to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we top deck a land, we have Mystic and Dispute up, which is good enough in my opinion. Opponent taps out for a Dreadwood Butcher, meaning that I can quite safely bounce the Stormfist Crusader, kind of limit the damage that we are going to take in the future. Please, Reclamation off the top. Reclamation off the top would be insane. I can't even begin to describe how good Reclamation off the top would be. Uro can help us kind of gain some life and stop this mad train that's coming our way. Fight as one doesn't even really bother me at this stage, so like if you have it opponent, I mean, go for it. I'm going to block the Dreadwood Butcher because the larger this gets, the more annoying it gets. Alright, opponent doesn't want to attack with it, so like... Alright, opponent attacks with everything. Opponent doesn't attack! What's happening? Opponent actually doesn't attack? What? Opponent, I don't know like why you did not attack, but I don't think that's a good play. I really don't think that was a good play. So I'm going to Uro, and then Uro maybe dig us for like another land. If we don't have another land for Mystic, maybe we can just Mystic execute whatever our opponent plays. That's not a bad deal. We do draw into an untapped land, but it's shock. So like, do I want to take 2? I really don't think I do. Like against his board state, I think just saving my life is my main priority. Mystic Dispute is good enough to save us. I'm really wondering why opponent did not attack. Like, does he have like a pump spell in his hand and he thought that he doesn't want to lose any of his creatures? I don't know. Was he just greedy and he wanted to keep all of his tokens? That might be an option. I think I'm just going to counter that. I don't really want to see this on the field. I don't want to be losing a lot of life due to nothing. And I really want to like increase my graveyard count for Uro in the future, so that's why we did this. Opponent, please don't do this. Please attack. Opponent, I know that him attacking is going to cause me to maybe lose, but I don't like winning games that way. Yeah, opponent, do the right thing. Say that this deals damage to me whenever something dies. So like currently I'm just taking 2 from that Butcher dying. So currently we're gonna be taking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fight as 1 is annoying, obviously. Am I dead? Obviously not, but I mean I'm very close to dying, like very soon. Field Mystic is fine. Field Mystic with I don't think there's a way for us to survive next turn. I do not believe that there is, but I mean we're trying. I mean, never, like I just told you in the video early on, don't give up, so like we're not giving up. But I really don't think there's a way for me to survive. I mean, I should have died last turn, but opponent just did not attack the 2 turns before. So let's just block the biggest amount of damage, which is the Cruel Celebrant. Actually, I think we just block the Nightback with the Nightback, and we just block this. That's like the minimum amount of damage we can take, which is currently 1, 2, yeah, it's more than lethal. I think we just concede. Because this is going to deal 1 damage to me if something dies, so I don't think we're gonna come back to this game. Alright, so opponent had the go white strategy. Usually against mono red we could have maybe stabilized, because like opponent we can 1-for-1 his threats, but in this case we couldn't 1-for-1 just because opponent was playing so many threats. I think cutting down on the Mystical Disputes and the Field Mystics because they're too slow, and I don't think I want something that slow. I'm gonna cut down on 1 Reclamation because it's not the main plan I have currently. I think my main plan currently is to survive, obviously, and I don't think I need a Reclamation. Just the fact that I can untap and survive long enough is just gonna be enough for me to win against this kind of deck. Now, what am I expecting? That's a very good question. I'm expecting a lot of discard and like a lot of hand hate. That's the main thing I'm currently playing around. And funny enough, before you had Veil of Summer to kind of deal with hand discard and everything, like it wasn't even funny. At some stage I was able to play Expansion Explosion and just keep Veil of Summer up, and Veil of Summer was enough to kind of win me the game. Veil of Summer was so insane, and I still can't believe that it was legal in Standard, especially that Veil of Summer was 1 mana to counter a spell and draw a card. Cryptic Command does the same thing, but it costs 4 mana and it's 1 blue. So like not a lot of decks were able to run it. Like any green deck was running Veil of Summer. It wasn't even funny. So why did I keep his hand even though it has a bunch of lands? I think Bonecrusher Giant or Borrower are enough early interaction in my opinion. Especially if he drops an early hero, I think we don't have a problem with that. And if opponent has a very slow start, you can just get Keruga into our hand, or maybe not, just because I'm expecting a lot of hand hate, so like we don't want to walk into our Keruga into hand hate, or maybe we just force it and then we kind of slow down our opponent that way. There's a lot of options currently. Alright, Flame Sweep feels good. So I'm going to play my Bonecrusher Giant and start pressuring my opponent, because Flame Sweep does not kill my threats, and then yet again I can start pressuring my opponent because of that. So opponent, what do you want to play? If he plays Graveyard, if he plays Interaction, I'm fine with that. Hero Precinct 1, double Hero Precinct 1 opponent, really. Like, you had 2 in your opening hand. I think I'm going to Flame Sweep. Flame Sweep does kill my threat if your opponent notices that he can Footlight Fiend it. If he doesn't, I think we just survive. I'm not expecting it to survive, obviously. Alright, that's a sad turn of events, but it's fine. Next turn we can bounce something with Borrower and then just play Borrower. Or we can just set up for Keruga, put Keruga into our hand. Stormcrypt Crusader is not something I mind, honestly, because I want to draw more cards, and like opponent giving me more cards is not a problem with me. I think Reclamation is enough of a change for me to kind of change my opinion and then do something else. Hopefully this helps us draw into more interaction, so like opponent please. That's not interaction, but I mean thank you opponent, I didn't want to draw this on my turn anyways. Opponent playing Corpse Knight. I think I'm going to bounce this Priest of the Forgotten Gods because I don't want, really don't want to deal with this. I don't want to him to sacrifice and then gain a bunch of damage and then all of that. Yes, it's going to help his Corpse Knight deal 1 damage because it's going to enter, but besides that, I didn't want him to like gain more mana, sacrifice things, deal damage to us. I didn't want that to happen. Opponent's actually running a very cool deck, honestly. So I'm gonna Brazen Borrower at unstep. And now we have the Ambusher, so like I think our plan is to just get Keruga into our hand, play this Breeding Pool tapped, and because I can't block, I'm just going to attack. And that's enough for me to pass my turn. Interaction, please? That's not, actually that's like enough interaction in my opinion, that's a blocker, that's good enough. So opponent, what is your plan currently? Do you Priest of the Forgotten Gods? If you do, I'm just going to sacrifice my Borrower, and that's really fine with me. I think it's good for him to kind of Priest of the Forgotten Gods at this stage, but he would lose a Corpse Knight or a Crusader and Priest, so like I don't know how good that decision is. He's currently thinking what could be out or like what he should play around. And this list is long, opponent. This list is very long. Do I really mind taking 4? I don't think I do. I think I'm just going to take it, honestly. I don't think you're playing Embercleave, are you? Yeah, you're not playing Embercleave. Hopefully. I mean, thank God he isn't playing Embercleave. I did not want to deal with an Embercleave at this stage. I'm going to play my Nightpack Ambusher. If opponent has removal, it's okay. It's not the worst thing. If opponent doesn't have removal, I mean, he needs to have removal and then he needs to use his Priest of the Forgotten Gods. Dire Tactics is something that I should have expected. I'm gonna be honest with all of you, but I'm not. So like, it's fine. Opponent is getting into a very low life total, so like, we're not that bad. I mean, we're not in that bad of a situation currently. I'm going to attack with Borrower, getting him even lower. Currently, he's going to go down to 6, unless he kind of uses his Priest of the Forgotten Gods. He doesn't. Let's see, I think with Keruga drawing into 2 cards is enough in my opinion to kind of run away with the game. Trust me, it should be enough. Even if you draw interaction, you should be good. Why am I not drawing interaction? I mean, this is not bad, because like now we get to do a bunch of things. Let's leave it at that. We get to block 2 things, and then maybe if he makes us sacrifice something, we sacrifice our Borrower. And then end step, we can Cycle Shark Typhoon for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that should be enough to run away with the game. Please stop drawing lands. I mean, yes, I am playing 27, but like, I never expected to draw that many. We can scry and step also, that's also like something we can do. Don't think it's something we have to do just yet. Hero of Precinct 1 is fine. I mean, if we're going to win, we're going to win with Shark Typhoon with flying, so like that's not a problem. Tajik is not something I mind either, because like we can just Shark Typhoon now, he tapped out. So I'm very comfortable with just using Shark Typhoon for a huge number. Yes, opponent's creatures can take non-combat damage, non-combat damage currently, so like that's a bit annoying, but I think we should be fine. Especially that Shark Typhoon currently is going to deal with like whatever threat he attacks with. You can even double block the Crusader, but I think the Crusader is just... Crusader kills our opponent if I'm not wrong. Does this gain him 2 life? No, it doesn't gain him life, it just makes us discard something. Sacrifice a creature, the Borrower can go. Because like Shark Typhoon I think should be enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, Shark Typhoon is enough on its own to just win us the game. If opponent wants to attack with Tajik, be my guest. You're just going to lose. Alright, so opponent, good game. Do we go into game 3? So like I showed you the sideboard against aggressive matchups. Now we have double expansion. I mean a reclamation and we have an expansion, so that's good. So opponent, take 5. Alright, opponent, why did you need to like see this? I mean, did you like expect me not to attack? Like really? Like, I told you good game and then I did it. So like, just save your time, save my time. Let's go and do other things. let's really hope I get to show you the last part of this game, because my hard drive is getting a bit low on size, and the videos are big, so like that might be some reason why this video is cut off in the middle. Hopefully it won't happen, but like, let's always keep the second option in mind. Let's always keep something in mind. Waiting on your opponent. I mean, opponent, why are you not choosing to go first yet? Alright, opponent chooses to go first finally. This is a very good hand. Turn 1, now my only problem is, do I play my Triumph turn 1, or do I play my other land turn 1 and then hope to draw into another red source? I don't think we do. I think opponent is going to start this curve with a... As long as opponent doesn't play a turn 1 spell, I don't think we really care. Opponent Duress is actually very bad against our deck, for the sole reason that we don't even run that many non-creature spells besides Reclamation and what was the other card? Expansion Explosion. Alright, opponent, you always have this on curve, and I always have Bonecrusher on curve. I don't know like who's stronger, my will or yours, but I mean currently my will is stronger. So we can Luftstruck Beast next turn and keep up Bonecrusher Giant, and then next turn we can untap, play Reclamation. Oh my god, this hand is insane. This hand is really insane. I think we're going to love to stomp with this. Wait, let's cancel. Let's cancel. This is because I want to use the green source to use Luftstruck Beast. Alright, so Luftstruck Beast, and now I stomp. And now next turn we can untap, play Reclamation, and I think we can just run away with the game from there. Reclamation and the Nightback Ambusher. Oh my god, that's such a good curve. And then we run out these, and then we get Keruga. Yeah, I think the game is not. I mean, the game is not over from a very, very narrow side. It's not even near over. But I think we're ahead. I think we're ahead. Currently, I might just be representing Field Mystic, although it's not in the field. The opponent might still play around it. Opponent, if you attack with Tesa, I'm not even gonna block with the Ambusher, just in case he has a double Fight as one in hand. It's something I want to play around. He might tap the Fight as one as well. Alright, so opponent taps out. So if he attacks with Tajik, I'm just going to kill it. Alright, opponent, that's a very good choice of you. I mean, very, very wise. Just play attack without thinking against the flash deck. That's a very wise thing from your side. Good job, opponent. Thank you for that amazing turn. And that's enough to earn the game. So that's gonna be pretty much it for this game. If you guys did enjoy this deck, do consider subscribing. It helps the channel a lot. If you want me to help you more with this deck, maybe give you more of my thoughts on how to play it or what to do join the Discord server, and I would love to do that. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.